back to a little wonky question. What is the next step in the budget process? And what are the Dems asking for?
Okay, all right, so yeah, as I said, there are two leverage points coming up on this. First off, we're not, there is, all right, the way the budget process works very roughly is that both the House and the Senate comes up with the allocations toward the big areas that we want to spend money, as well as the total amount. And so they say we're going to spend this much on science, this much on Medicaid, this much on this or that. It's actually specified at the committee level. And so that, for example, in the case of Medicaid and science spending through the Department of Energy, it goes to a committee called the Energy and Commerce Committee. They are given one number, okay? And you probably have heard this $880 billion cut that they have to, and so that they said, here's our pot of money, you know, we need to fund Medicare and Medicaid and, you know, Department of Energy and everything else, okay? And the Doges or Trump or whoever has negotiated the budget says, let us cut, this committee has to cut $880 billion, okay? The problem is, the everything else that's not Medicare and Medicaid is not $880 billion. So they can eliminate the entire Department of Energy and all the other stuff that they do and still not be able to do this. They have to satisfy this edict, they have to cut probably Medicaid. All right, and so this is the lie they've been trapped in when they make one promise to one group and a different inconsistent promise to another group. And so what's happened as a result of that they passed something in the House over my dead body and voted every Democrat against it. And the Senate has also passed something, but they're not the same. Because there are things in the House budget that senators don't like and vice versa. They have to, the next step is for them to somehow come to an agreement. And they have to do that in a situation where they have no votes to spare, or, you know, 1 or 2 votes to spare. And they've got at least one member who will never vote for anything. And they, yeah, Thomas Massey, he's an interesting guy. If you ever visit my office in DC, his office is across the hall from mine. Anyway, so that's the next step, is to see if the Republicans can stop arguing with each other between the House and the Senate and come up with a plan. And then it goes back to the committees, and they have to actually, you know, take this money from the Energy and Commerce Committee with the $880 billion cut and actually be specific about how much they're going to spend on everything. And that's when, you know, that'll be ripping the clothes off of them on their lies to the people about not cutting Medicaid. And so that's, and at that point, maybe they'll start getting cold feet, or maybe not. They'll just say, oh, we lied, so what? I don't know. But that's the next step. In between that, and so then when they get that figured out, they then have to pass it in both the House and the Senate. In the Senate, they can do it with 51 votes. They don't need to get past a filibuster. So that if they maintain unanimity on their desire to cut Medicaid and give their tax breaks to their billionaires, then we cannot stop them if they remain unanimous. And our goal is to try to get, we only need 3 in the House to come our way and say, no, I'm actually going to not lie to the people that elected me, and I'm not going to cut Medicaid. We'll see if that happens. But it's
what about
going to
the special elections coming up?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're important, but they're not seats that are likely to flip one way or the other. That's, you know, that's the case. They're still worth working on. I want to say one thing. You know, this is an official side thing, so this is not a political thing. I want to say something. A lot of people are saying, what can I do now that will actually make a difference and make my voices heard?
Here.
So here's something concrete and immediate that can be done all across this country in the next few weeks. It's different states and areas. We're having municipal elections. And normally I think it's wonderful that municipal elections are nonpartisan, because most issues locally are nonpartisan. But this is not normal times. And now there is no excuse for anyone running for office to not have a position on what Donald Trump is trying to do to our democracy. So if you're running for Park District, you need to have a position on whether you should So get involved in the upcoming elections that are coming up in just a couple of weeks here. Have a look at people's position. Are they willing to stand up and criticize Donald Trump's policies or not? okay? And that should be, because that, if the municipal politicians that run for office and get clobbered because of Trump's policies and they lose the election, all the political pundits and all the pollsters will say, wow, this is a big effect. And that will put the fear of God into enough Republicans that maybe we can get 1 or 2 or 3 to start voting our way. And that's